Welcome to a festive edition of Stu's Wrestling Podcast, episode 161. My guest is waiting in the wings all the way from the good old US of A. It is women's wrestling veteran, former WWE star. It's none other than Miss Renee Michelle on Stu's Wrestling Podcast today. Hello, Renee. How are you?
Hey, Stu. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Now, I know you've been busy this year with bookings. How's 2023 been for you?
Oh, it's been great. I can't complain. I got like one thing checked off my list was the UK. So I was over there for Progress for a whole month on tour. Thank you. I had a lot of fun there, and I was able to spend time with my in-laws too.
Amazing. You were in Birmingham as well.
Yeah,
Your husband's home city. How was Birmingham? How was it?
I like
Wrestling
it.
there.
I like it. Like you hear different stories about Birmingham, but I guess where I'm at is like, I guess people say like Birmingham's kind of like a rough section, but I guess not.
It's like everywhere, Renee. It's like everywhere. As it's bad and it's good. So that's it. That's it.
True.
Yeah. How was it at Progress? How were the matches? How was the crowd? I always ask you guys this: how does the crowd differ over here to the US?
Oh wow, the crowd over here is and especially in the UK is the best. They're like very, very involved. They're very in tune. They're very supportive on either side. I mean, more so the baby faces over there. Um, Wrestling, I was able to face Rio, and I was able to face in session Moth and LA Taylor.
So they're all good. They're all good talents, aren't they? They've done so well. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, they're so good.
How was the crowd for you?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And they were all super cool. Like I was nervous at first because I wasn't sure how the UK crowd would take me. Here's me, they don't know anything about me. Very much so they probably know more about my husband because he's original from there. But, as time progressed, it's like I actually like it. I would not mind coming back to the UK again.
What was some of your favourite parts of the trip? Obviously, having a whole month, fantastic. I know guys, sometimes come over for the weekend and they go back to the homeland. So you're having that month over here, and just your experiences outside of the ring and outside of the wrestling bubble, just stuff that you can pick out that you really liked over here.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I was also spending a lot of time with my in-laws, so I'm glad that I was able to spend that time with them. And then having to go, to the gardens and check that, the history around in England and high tea, like with my mother-in-law. Like, I'm very much a fan of scones and clotted cream and jam. So that's definitely my favorite.
You're talking my lingo there. I've not, do you know what? I've not had a scone for a while, actually. I'll have to get some. Absolutely. I do like a scone.
It's delicious. I wish they had like that type of ingredients over here in the US, but maybe they do and I just don't know about it. But some of the scones that I have tried, like from the grocery store and stuff here, nothing compared to the UK scones.
Oh my word. Absolutely. Now, I was doing some fact finding, some digging about you when you were training, and I've had this man on the show back about 3 years ago, Mr. Dwayne Gill. We know him as Gilberg.
Oh, yes.
Your time with Dwayne Gill, learning your craft, you're learning how to wrestle. What a guy, what a man he is.
Well, the thing is, like, with Dwayne, like, bless him, he's the one who actually found me. So I would definitely give him credit for that. And I was only there for, like, a little bit. Honestly, it was, like, 3 months before the school shut down. So it's, like, that little bit of time. I wish, I don't know what happened. I probably would never know, like, the true story of that. But, from there, I was able to meet Dan McDevitt, who is the owner of MCW, which is Maryland Championship Wrestling. So I kind of more so feel that I actually got my actual training there. And then within a year and a half, I had an opportunity to go to Japan. And there was a tryout that was being held in New York by Chigusa Nagayo. And if anyone knows Chigusa Nagio, she's also Meko Satomura's trainer. And first, Meko is actually her first protege from back in the day. And if you saw the documentary called Gaia or Gaia Girl, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So Chigusa Nagio and Linus Asuka, they were known as the Crush Girls back in the day, and they were the infamous tag team wrestling, in Japan. So a lot of like people, there were the women there were really good, like Alondra Blaze have wrestled her. A lot of like old school wrestlers. I'm definitely a fan of Toyomi Megumi, and the list goes on from there. But then, luckily, I was there to stay for about a year. So I didn't want to get any type of special treatment because I'm a foreigner. I told her treat me just as the same as she would treat the Japanese. So she did, and I love it ever since then. But during the tryout, there were men and women there, and doing the drills and everything else was a breeze for me. And luckily, I guess maybe because I have that martial arts background. But then when it comes to promo, like I decided to cut mine in Japanese, but never in a million years I ever thought I ever had to utilize it because I took Japanese when I was in college. I wanted to challenge myself, whereas a lot of people they would either take Spanish or French, So when I saw Japanese there, I was like, well, let me try it. So who would have thought, A, I would have become a wrestler, and B, I would utilize the Japanese language.
What an opportunity so early on for you as well, going there, the style. Was it strong style for you?
Okay, so a lot of people with the strong style, how that came about, and it was very surprising because Chigusa told me, because she said that I wish I knew what I knew now than I knew back then. Because a lot of people, they were getting hurt back then. Like Chigusa, she had like 17, 18 different surgeries on her whole body, throughout all those years of wrestling. But the strong style really came from when someone went over to Japan, they learned their style here. And because the Japanese are really good at like selling and perfecting their craft, is to make it look like you're being killed or look like you're being annihilated, but you're just really good at selling. Or you just really know how to make it look like you're killing somebody. So whoever that person was, they took that, they bring it to America or wherever, and then they just start beating the hell out of each other and go like, oh, well, it's Japanese strong style. It's just a myth. It's like it's a myth. It's a lie. And a lot of people who like take that and go like, oh, I want to be like this, they're doing it completely wrong.
That's not the art form
No,
at,
not at
at
all.
all. Which I didn't know. I didn't know until you've told me. So I've learned something there.
Yeah,
That's it.
it was really it's really a myth, and they took that myth and then they just took it and take it a mile away. The strong style is to like look strong, but also still protect your opponent, and to make it by looking strong is like delivering the impact, but like in a safer way, but also selling it like as if you're really getting your butt whooped too. So it's like if you watch like acting and like action movies and stuff, it looks crazy and off the wall, but you know.
Absolutely. How long were you in Japan, Renee?
For about a year. I lived
Wow.
there for about a year. I love it. Like my plan was to move to Japan, but I ended up meeting my husband along the way. So things change. She definitely wanted me to move to Japan, and that was definitely the goal because I absolutely love it. And like I met my husband, was set up on a blind date by Reby Hardy, and yeah, things
It's
went from there.
the rest is history on that one.
Yeah, yeah. She
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
How
She goes
about?
like she's
Sorry.
sad about it. She's like, okay, well, I still want you to come back, but just no babies yet, please.
I kind of got to be here with my husband. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How about the
Yeah.
culture there? I've asked people, obviously, who I've had on who've wrestled in Japan as well. I love asking, because I get different viewpoints on Japan and just, the culture, the lifestyle. How was that for you?
I absolutely love it. The culture is more so being selfless. It's more so being aware and selfless, not like thinking about yourself, but thinking of those who are around you. So if you're on the train track, you wouldn't want someone that's loud and obnoxious or anything like that. So why would you do that? So that's why the train track, being on a train is like more so quiet, everything's clean, because they care about the environment. They care about, where they're at, so they want things to be in impeccable order. Recycling is a thing. They're not a fan of leftovers because they feel like it's not good to have any type of leftovers. So when you have the food, eat it all there. They don't believe in leftovers as it's like contaminated, after that. So the list goes on from there,
Where were you based in Japan as well? That'd be nice to hear for the viewers and the listeners.
I was in Chiba, so it's pretty much, it looked very much like the Gaia documentary, nothing but farmland, surrounded by nothing but Asian pear trees and farm and barely any Wi-Fi. In order to get to the train, you have to take like a 40-minute walk. In order to get to Tokyo, it's like a 2.5-minute ride. So I was pretty much isolated, which I don't mind, because I'm there for work. And my focus is training and getting better and learning their style, their way, their culture, their lingo, and also, as well as I was learning more and advancing more with my Japanese, they was also learning English from me.
That's cool. That's cool. Oh, amazing. I know, like all you guys speak so fondly of Japan. It's incredible. It's incredible.
I love it. I love it. They're very respectful. They're very kind. Even the fans as well. They're not like obnoxious or anything like that. When they watch, the crowd is quiet, but they're actually really watching, because they solely enjoy it. And that's their way of enjoyment. Like, granted, like here, part like in the US or the UK, they're like cheering and rowdy and everything else. But, everyone has their different way of enjoyment. So.
Absolutely. Moving on, I'd like to speak about your time in WWE. Obviously, the Mae Young Classic as well. I'd like to speak to you about that, and I've got a graphic to put up as well. Just doing the Mae Young Classic and being in WWE. Just that experience for you.
I absolutely love it. During the Mae Young Classic was like a lot of fun. That's when I just got back from Japan, believe it or not. And basically, during the time at the Mae Young Classic, basically what happened was that I wrestled against Candice LeRae. And she has far more experience than me. And I was super nervous. I was super excited. But I wish I was more so in better shape during that time. So with my gear, funny story with that. The two with Japanese influence with a mixture of Native American, because back then I was doing more so of a Native American gimmick, and she had like so much far more advanced experience than I do. And here's me still new in the business, but also just coming back from Japan. And I had a lot of fun. What was funny about that is that if you watch the match and I did like a nip up in there, I broke my toenail clearly right across from a nip up. I don't know how I did that, but I continue on with the match, and her finisher. It was just definitely, it was quite a stinger from that. But I had a lot of fun. I wouldn't mind being in the ring with Candice LeRae again. And now that I'm more experienced than I was before, I definitely would love to like have like a second chance with that.
That's cool. I've got to say as well, obviously doing your on-screen stuff with Drake Maverick, obviously your husband, absolutely loved it. I love the comedy. I absolutely love the comedy of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that is us. That is truly us. Um, I love him a lot, but he's so damn goofy, but that's what like caught my attention with him. Like it was funny because even though we were set on a blind date, we were already kind of like chit chatting on. He actually slid into my DMs, and the first thing they said to me was, "Hello, Pocahontas lady." So I was like, "Who says that?" You know, but he did, and yeah, we've been married for like 7 years now. He's my
how
honey bun.
how how was it? How was it doing the vignettes and stuff for you?
Oh my goodness. It was a lot of fun, but it was also stressful because how I end up coming involved in that okay, so it was on our wedding. Oh yeah, so where was that? The wedding, um, excuse the noise. But the wedding actually, I thought it was gonna be like kind of like Sarah Logan, like how her guy had their wedding and everything, nice editing and whatnot. Completely wrong. 2 hours prior to me walking down the aisle, this was thrown at me, and I'm like, what? So the character Renee Maverick was upset about it. But me, I'm like, I don't care. The actual me, Renee, is like, sure. But what was funny is that when our troop popped out of nowhere from the, I don't know what angle he popped up out of, and then he rolled my husband up. They were on the back of my wedding dress. So it's not like just a simple little poofy dress. This dress was a cathedral gown. So between my husband, our truth, or Brewer, the referee, I got a big ass black footprint at the back of my dress. And then I guess one of them ripped my veil. So my bridesmaids didn't want to tell me that. Thanks, guys. Because they don't want my day to feel like being ruined or whatnot. But I really couldn't move either because A, they were on top of it, and B, I'm surrounded by, those candles that's floating in the water. Like, can you imagine me being catched on fire? I'll be a burning, flaming bride at this point. So I'm like making expressions at them, like, get off my dress.
So it was just so well done. It's not easy to do the comedy side either. It's not easy to do. It's just pure entertainment.
Oh,
I
that's
was in
definitely my
stitches.
husband.
I was
That
in
is definitely my
stitches.
husband.
Even on it through his time on Impact as well. Yeah, absolutely,
That is
absolutely.
everything that you see, how goofy as he is, that is really him. That is him to a T, and he's always on the go. He's like an Energizer bunny. He's just going and going and going. So I guess in a way it balances out. Like I'm more of the calm one. He's more of like always on the go, and it works for us. I mean, he abuses me. He makes me laugh. So
I loved it. I love comedy. I love comedy in the wrestling when
yeah,
people are able to do it.
it's hard to make me laugh. So the fact that actually he can make me laugh is a plus for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I was looking through as well. Obviously, you've had matches for AEW as well.
Yeah.
Last year, how was the AEW experience? I went to All In at Wembley. I said I'll go to the first AEW show when they started in 2019. But yeah, back to you. Sorry, just your experience in AEW.
During my experience in AEW, I had fun during the time. Obviously, there's a lot of wrestlers there. You don't know what they're looking for. Is same with WWE or Impact. It's the right place, right time, and what mood they're looking for. So yeah, it's just one of them things.
Absolutely. How about Impact as well? I think we need to speak. You've worked for all the top companies, Renee, which is testament to you. So yeah, Impact. We'll segue into Impact.
Impact, I had a lot of fun. I was in a tag team match, and I actually was able to get in the ring with Jazz. Man, getting in the ring with Jazz is like your auntie trying to whoop your butt. It's like, oh my goodness. But I love Jazz. I have like all the respect and love for her in the world. She's one of my favorite people. Um, she's a phenomenal worker, especially like looking at her stuff like back in the day. It's like, oof, like I would hate to be in Jazz, be in the ring with Jazz back in the day. Like Jazz is a little slow down now. Her knees are not as good as they used to be, but she still whooped my butt.
Rather you than me getting in there with Jazz. I wouldn't get in there. I would not get in there with that lady. I tell you, not a chance. Yeah, I think just longevity, the amount of time she's been in the business. It's testament to her, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like like she's a great person. She's a great friend. I see her like an auntie. You know, her ring work, especially like now, I still think it's good, but she feels like she slowed down. I'm like, nah, you still got it.
Yeah.
But looking at her ring work from back in the day, she's like phenomenal. I feel like, I don't know. I kind of feel like I wish that she had more, not so much like, I guess like more of an opportunity or more eyes been on her, but things were different. So what can you do?
Outside of wrestling, Renee, what's your hobbies? What do you like doing? I know obviously wrestling is so prevalent in your life, but yeah, you know, in your downtime, what's your hobbies? What's your interests?
Oh, my hobbies, my interests. Oh gosh. Well, I do like horse riding. So there's that. I do like archery. I do like, being in the sun, more so. Back then I would say martial arts, but I haven't I stopped doing that for like so many years now. Um, home decorating. I'm more of the home decorating. But also like I do actually have like an actual shoot job, like I'm a CEO of a government contracting firm, but a lot of people, I guess, when they look at me, they go like, oh, she's just a wrestler, oh, she's just a model. It's like, no, you guys, I was doing this since I was 19 years old. Just because I don't put it on socials, that's not even necessary. Like what I put there on socials is what I want you to see.
Absolutely.
I like to have a very private life, that's just me. I definitely love trying different types of food and cuisine. I'm a foodie, so, and I love to cook. So that's like a plus for my husband. He's like very happy that, he married someone who's very like, I guess he would call it like very old fashioned in a way. I do the whole cooking and cleaning and like home decorating and archery and horse riding and trying out different foods. And I guess I guess I became boring now.
What food do you like making, Renee? I think we should
Oh.
extend off that. We get specific.
Well, I mean, if you like Southern food, I can cook some Southern food. If you like Cuban food, I can make that. I can make some Filipino food. I'm actually like getting pretty good with the British food, believe it or not. I like making more of a home comfort type of food, like, your steaks, your beef and stuff like that. Actually a lot of James' friends, they love to come over during the holidays because I make a big feast, you know. So
Amazing. That's
it
great.
really depends on what you fancy. So
Which British dishes do you like making? I'd like to.
Yorkshire pudding
Oh
with
yes,
with
yes,
the pot with the pot
hearty.
roast. Yeah. And
Absolutely, I like a Yorkshire pudding.
yeah, but it's like you guys like have like having like the bangers and mash or whatever.
Oh
But
yes.
the way I like to make my mashed potatoes is like a garlic lemon zest with the parsley and everything. So
Fair,
it's like
fair play. You know, being able to do all those different international
yeah.
styles as well. That's
Oh yeah.
good. That's
I
cool.
love it. I love it.
That,
Like Serena D, she was like telling me like you should make a cookbook, and I'm like, I could, but then now I have to like look at like every measurement that I have like doing, and I don't like I eye it out. It's kind of hard. because I go by taste and smell and and iron things out.
Renee, what about TV, films, things of that nature? What do you like?
Well,
What do you like? I assume you like watching stuff like that.
well, lately, lately there's a show that's called Bridgerton. I've been into that lately. I love that. I also love the show In-Betweeners. That's hilarious.
The British
Yes,
version. Oh,
yes.
okay, right. Yeah, it makes sense that you'd watch that. Actually, yeah. The American version.
There's
No
an American
disrespect.
version?
Yeah, no disrespect. You can't remake. I stand by this. That can't be done. But other shows have had American spin. But yeah, I'm glad you like the British one. I thought you were going to say the American one.
No, I didn't know there was an American
Yeah,
version.
there was an
I just know that
American.
there's a
Yeah.
British. Well, that's something that I found out. Like, no, and then like my husband, he's a fan of horror movies. He loves them. Me, I can't watch horror movies. I can't watch it by myself. So I'm more into like, I'll just stick with my Bridgerton series. I'm waiting for the third one to come out. It needs to hurry up.
My wife watched it. Obviously, I was half watching it, watching my stuff. So I have seen bits of Bridgerton along the way. But yeah, my wife did enjoy, like yourself, she enjoyed Bridgerton. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like I love to travel, like, but thank God for wrestling, you're able to like travel the world and like meet interesting people along the way and I love it. I don't mind it at all.
You can't put a price on that, you guys.
No,
when
can't.
when you do get downtime in these places, because I know it's so much for the profession. Like you guys getting time, getting days to go and explore. Like, I'm envious of that. I'm envious of that.
Yeah.
That's a
then,
side.
And then I have done belly dancing. That was a lot of fun. I'm gonna try to see if I can convince my husband to do salsa dancing with me because he has dancer's hips. He loves like Patrick Swayze. So I seen him dance a few times, and I'm like, he got the dancer's hips, man. If he could just apply that to salsa, everything would be great.
I can see him doing it. If there's anyone who will do that, it's him. Absolutely, yeah. I can see him. I can see him like being, like you say, limber the hips. Yeah, and he'll get into the character of it as well, won't he?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Knowing your husband like I do from television and meeting him.
Yeah, definitely. Like he's actually a really good dancer, believe it or not. Now if I could just get him to apply it to salsa, that would be great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Renee, again, like you were saying about the travel, where would you like to go? Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be necessarily for wrestling. If you were to go on holiday, say, where would you like to go and visit?
Where would I like to go and visit?
Where you haven't been?
I mean, I already got Japan off the list. I wouldn't mind going back to Japan. And honestly, like, I wouldn't mind like exploring the different parts of, of Europe. I do want to go to like Italy or, France, so there's that, but I definitely wouldn't mind coming back to England and like visiting like Scotland or Ireland, so there's a little bit different parts. I mean, I already been to like Barbados, and that was actually me wrestling out there.
Wow.
And I already been to India, and that's from wrestling out there. And that was actually for the Great Khali show. So that was like the biggest crowd that I ever experienced. It was 75,000 fans out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So incredible.
Yeah, it was very much built like a WrestleMania event.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, like, I wouldn't mind, like, going to, like, maybe, like, Mexico, like, different parts of Mexico. Mm-hmm. Like, Tulum, going back there. So.
Plenty on the list. Plenty on the list of places.
Plenty on the list. I mean, like, we've been talking about wanting to go to Hawaii, but it's just our schedules. It's just very complicated. But I would say, above all, I think Hawaii is like on top of the list.
What I've seen on television does look amazing.
Right? It's so beautiful. I just want to eat all the food there, like all the food.
then you can come back and cook it at home.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That'll be another cuisine that you can tick off the list, Renee.
That is my thing, because it's like when I went to the Philippines and I was in Manila, and then La Union, and then Boracay. Boracay is like a little island. You have to take a flight. It's like an hour flight, from Manila. And the water there is just clear as could be. The sand is white. The food is always fresh. It was very cheap, but you get like this whole gourmet platter, So when I tried the food there, I had to learn the recipe. So I would just ask you.
I've got to ask you. WrestleCade was recently.
Yes.
Like a 2-day. Was it 2-3 days? I think was it the 25th?
3 days. I think it was 2-3 days. Yeah.
That was massive. I'd heard the WrestleCade, but I thought, oh, this is like convention. I knew there'd be matches and stuff. That was like a festival, wasn't it, for you guys? I couldn't believe just how big it is now.
Yes, I had a lot of fun. It was with ladies' night out. I had La Rosa Negra, as the guest referee. She is just wild and crazy as can be. That woman is a hoot. But the fan, I was so overwhelmed. And I guess because, dealing with COVID and everything else, you don't know how people's mentality is like. Or, should I give a hug? Should I give a handshake? Should I get a fist bump? I don't know, elbow, I don't know. So it's that's always constantly crossing your mind. But I had a lot of hand sanitizers too. So I wasn't trying to catch it again.
It's just like you guys, like everything, but when that was all happening, I know it's in the rear view a bit now. It's just all you guys weren't able to do what you want to do, what you love to do. I felt for you all. So it is great that these shows are all, back
coming back
running,
now.
isn't it? As much as it's 3 years, we're nearly 3 years in, aren't we? Well, we are. Yeah, it's amazing for you guys. But yeah, WrestleCade looked amazing.
It was many people. So many people.
If I could have got over there, honestly, that is because I love meeting the wrestlers and having a photo.
You should come over.
I'd love to. I miss it. I miss not going over for WrestleMania.
Maybe next year.
I'll have to ask the wife.
Yeah, bring the wife, bring the baby.
she liked Total Divas. She liked Natalia. She loves Natalia, but yeah, I've tried to get her into it. She watched Bailey versus Sasha at Takeover, the ladder match, and I thought we're on to something here. But no, she's just not. It's not for her.
Yeah, she's not.
I thought this is going great. This was early on in our relationship. Oh my god! These girls are going for it, aren't they? It's yeah. I said they'll go these girls, but yeah, didn't carry on. Unbelievable sight. And how were the fans, Renee?
The fans, they were awesome. They're all super duper nice. I was definitely overwhelmed. Sometimes, if you notice, if I had to walk away from the table, I needed a bit of a break. I need a bit of a break. But other than that, I love it. I wouldn't mind doing it again. But after the show, we were able to catch up with some friends along the way, some people that I haven't seen in such a long time. Foxy was there. She's one of my close girlfriends. I absolutely love her. So we were able to catch up. Sue Young, she's been great. She's been feeling good. She's a wonderful mother. So I'm so happy and proud of her. Yeah, it's just a long list along the way. And I was able to meet up with my buddy Chavo. So it's
Chavo.
He's the best.
Oh my God. He's I can't believe that. Obviously he's trained people, hasn't he? Obviously with Iron Claw coming out.
Yeah.
He trained
about that.
Zac Efron trained him, and he said he's quite good once he got to know what wrestling was about.
Yeah.
I think he was hitting a crossbody. And he said he executed it perfectly. Like he said, he was quite good considering. He said you're quite teachable.
That's good. Hey, who knows? Zac Efron might become a wrestler after.
I can't wait for Iron Claw, Renee.
Oh yeah, I
I am
definitely want to see it.
buzzing. I am buzzing for that. I've been waiting for so
Yeah.
long. So
But it's
yeah.
like speaking of Natty, like I've been like going over to like, training, rolling around and training with them over at the Heart Dungeon. So I'm actually having a lot of fun with that. Like, so besides like Chigusa Nagio, who I was trained with, then when I moved to Florida,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to get rid of like a lot of bad habits. So I started going over to Flatbacks, which is owned by Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys, like, I didn't really like when you want to become a wrestler, Japan is where that. Now, when you want to become a sports entertainer, WWE and all those, here it's like it's where it's at. When I got into wrestling, that was told to me. Since I was never a fan of wrestling, I didn't grow up on wrestling. I wanted to become a wrestler so I could understand it,
Mm-hmm.
so and learn it. So obviously, most of my career was like over in Japan. Now, when I got to Florida and everything, and along the way, especially on the indies, you develop a lot of bad habits. And like some of the teaching is like it's good to learn from different bits of other people along the way and kind of like molding your own. But if you have like some bad habits, like Breeze and Spears, they helped me a lot to brush me up on it. And they were very, I love the fact that they were strict on me. Like they wouldn't body coddle me or anything like that. Like, so they're like really, really good teachers and mentors. Um,
That's cool.
and then as time progressed, like I kind of flip flop now between like Natty and TJ and
Mm-hmm.
like going over to flatbacks, because like I also see flatbacks like a second home to me as well. My
Mm-hmm.
first home is always going to be Japan. That would be like my actual, well, my second home. Like from here, from being America, is Japan. But then it's like, and I'm always going to have that loyalty to Chigusa. But then also, I'm always going to have that loyalty to Breeze and Spirits as well because they didn't have to like teach me to go like, well, you're already trained. But I came to school, I did the whole 8 weeks course. You know, I some of the stuff like I didn't get, but I understood it now by being with them and being around them and learning from them along the way. So how like the psychology, like they brushed me up with that and the striking, and everything like that, because Japan psychology and American psychology is very different. But Breeze and Spirit, they definitely helped me a lot, like with the psychology and then the promos. So then when I went over to Natty and TJ's, they definitely helped me out a lot with the psychology over there, but also becoming more aggressive. Even though I wasn't becoming like aggressive over at Flatbacks, but they
Mm-hmm.
helped me out even more so with
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's like Natty and TJ, it's not a school, it's invite only, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and and it's more so with other experienced individuals, and which I absolutely love. So being around with people who are, let's just say like on a roster or anything like that, I was able to like roll around and be in a ring with them, and like they were able to help me like bring out like more of my aggression.
That's great. It's just adding stuff, isn't it? To your tool belt and getting that. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like
Amazing.
I love the fact that they're like very technical in the ring. Like
Mm-hmm.
Natty and TJ, they're very, very technical in the ring. And that I was like I absolutely love. But I also love the Japan style too. So if God forbid if I ever had to wrestle another Japanese girl, I could switch it over to that. If I had to wrestle
Mm-hmm.
someone who is more on a technical base, I like to mix all like my styles all into one with a
Mm-hmm.
hint of like my martial arts into it.
You never stop learning. That's what I'm taking away
No,
from what you're saying. Constantly evolving, and
yeah.
it's amazing that you can go to the two. It really is, and
Yeah,
I
you
know.
never stop learning and you never want to
Mm-hmm.
stop not going to
Mm-hmm.
training. Like a lot of people, well, some of the girls that I have been in locker rooms with, they go like, "Oh, well, I already paid my dues." Well, I've been 10 years in and I'm still paying dues. So, you know, it's just the most ludicrous thing I ever heard of. Like, I kind of feel like you never want to stop training. And it's not so much of like, "Oh, this is what I want to learn." Or this is what I want to do for my next match, so that's my training. No, like no, you want to like continue on doing it over and over and over again from like A to Z, because God forbid if you're doing a move and to someone and you crack their skull, is on you, because you think that you know how to do it correctly, but your footwork and or your hand or the position that you're in, it's not. So it is what it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'd
It's
like to ask you. Sorry.
no, it's all about the execution.
Hmm.
You have to have the execution
Hmm.
perfectly. You could like not do it for days in training or whatever, and then you randomly do it, and then
Hmm.
you miss a step or two and you end up injuring someone. You have to continue on doing it. You have to keep practicing.
That's sound advice, especially that's what I wanted to segue into. Actually, younger guys getting into the business.
Mm-hmm.
Your advice for them, extending off obviously because you were talking about training. Just tips.
Mm-hmm.
Your Renee Michelle's tips for budding wrestlers who are new to the business.
So for actually like a girl like came up to me and she's new to it and she asked me this. I told her like, look, like you got to hit the gym. You have to. I'm not saying that of like a body shaming type of thing or whatever, but it's more so protection for you because you have to develop muscle because when you're bumping around in the ring and whatnot, it's to protect your body just as well as like if you look good, you feel good, but also it's not so much of like, oh, you got to look like a star, but yeah, you do want to like
Mm-hmm.
look like one, but also you need the muscle to be able to lift people. You need the muscle to be able to protect yourself. You need the muscle to be able to, God forbid, if someone was, yeah, like for nearly everything, you have to be in the gym. Let alone on top of that, you have outside cardio and in ring cardio is completely different. Granted, you could run like, a marathon or whatever, but the moment that you get in the ring, it's completely different because you're hitting the ropes like back and forth and you're twisting and turning and and everything else. So it's good to have both. I would recommend having both, but you're definitely going to need that in ring cardio. And then with the training, you cannot stop training. You have to keep training because the moment that you keep stop training and then you decide to get in the ring, your body's sore all over again because it haven't been bumping around and whatnot, or you haven't been doing things that you're supposed to be training on and you're rusty.
That's good. No, it's good advice. I love asking you guys about this. I do truly. I've got to ask you now. You've wrestled a myriad of people in your career, but who you haven't wrestled that you'd like to pit your wits against inside the ring, the squared circle?
Ooh, do they have to be signed or do they have not to be signed?
It's either or. Either or. I'll let that. Yeah, you could.
So I wouldn't mind being in the ring with Natalia. I would love to be in the ring with Natalia. And then I also would love to be in a ring with Foxy. I'm trying to convince her to get back in the ring. I wouldn't mind. She's crazy as a fox, but I would love to be able to get back in the ring with, would love to be in the ring with her. I wouldn't mind wrestling against Meko Satomura because that was Chigusa's first protege. And I was Chigusa's first like foreign student, that she trained. Um, Io Shirai, she's a
Mm-hmm,
phenomenal worker. I would
mm-hmm.
love to be able to work her. Um, I mean Chigusa herself, that's for sure. Um, did it have to be men or women? Well,
You can
I'm a female.
the whole gender. It's yeah. It can be can be a man. Yeah.
Uh, Honestly, I wouldn't mind going up against Sean Spears. But then again, so like, but then again, it's like I'm like thinking he probably hit me upside the head with a chair or something, and I'll just be knocked out. But he's like a really good, he's a really good worker. He's a phenomenal worker, and yeah, I can't really. Hmm, that's that's about it so far I can think of at the top of my head. Um, yeah, because a lot of the workers that I have, like I work Melina, I work Mickey James.
Mm.
So that's already off my list. I work Jazz, so that's definitely off my list. But yeah, like, I mean, obviously, like Natalia and I, we roll around the ring together, but I wouldn't mind having an actual match with her.
The Hearts are my favourite. Obviously,
Yeah.
Brett. I finally met Brett. Couldn't string a sentence together, but the Hearts, they're them, and yeah, what Natalia's done.
Yeah, Natalia's definitely on
Oh
top
my
of my
God,
list.
Hall of Fame. It'll be Hall of Fame eventually for her, and she deserves it as well.
Oh,
Again,
absolutely. She worked hard.
it's like length of time again. In the biz, it's just you can't take that
Yeah.
away. You can't take that away from her, Renee.
Yeah, no, and what better way to be in the ring and learn from her?
Absolutely.
Like, she may be teaching me a little bit. She may not be teaching me everything. So it's like, but I like to take my chances up on Natalia.
do you catch much wrestling on TV, or is it just stay away from it, being in the business? I like asking you guys this as well.
So I try to keep up with the product as much as I possibly can. Like, from trying to juggle like AEW, Impact, WWE, NXT, Raw, SmackDown. It's a lot. It truly is a lot, but and also trying to keep up with things on the indies. Because since like the whole COVID thing, I'm still trying to figure out what's still available after COVID. Because
Yeah.
there's some promotions that did went down and some promotions that's like barely surfacing. But as far as like, progress is like I absolutely love progress. The girls there are like phenomenal.
I need to go to a show. I did say, I think I said off camera to you, I need to go to. I've said to Mike Angus, I will go and do it. So yeah, it's on my list to do. I've got to
You
get.
better go.
I've got to go some of the local shows, Renee.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
It's terrible. I just don't. It's getting chance. It's getting chance to do it, but yeah, absolutely.
Maybe just distract the baby and the wife.
I'm hoping my son will get into it. I really am.
Oh, maybe he might become like a little wrestler. You never know.
He's built like a rugby player.
Mm.
At this stage, he's a big kid. He's a big kid already. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
As long as he can make me some money.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, and then I'll retire. I'll call it a day. But then I'll get bored if I'm not working. So I don't know about that.
You can have a hobby. It's okay.
It's double edged. It's double edged. That one.
It's definitely a double edged sword.
Absolutely. Renee, where can the viewers and listeners find you in terms of social media? That'd be great. In closing.
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram, which is Lady RM, as well as you can find me on well, now it's no longer Twitter. Now it's called X, which is one Renee Michelle.
Absolutely. Renee, thank you so much for sparing the time coming on today. I appreciate it. I know you're busy. It's been great. It's been so insightful as well. What you've done in the business from obviously independence when you started out, coming into WWE, wrestling for Impact, AEW. And I know you won a lot of titles, especially for MCW along the way, because I was looking, fantastic what you've managed to do.
Yeah, MCW to Shine to like being overseas.
Amazing, yeah, man, unbelievable. And then obviously, as we've spoken about your time in Japan, you've done an awful lot in 10 years.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm also learning the British style from my husband. So we'll see.
It's cool. My guest today is veteran women's wrestler Renee Michelle, formerly of WWE. She's wrestled for AEW, Impact Wrestling, so many independents, wrestled in Japan. Thank you so much for being a guest for episode 161 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you.